Well, Jess, what a delight to have Karen on the show. We didn't know her very well before, but looks like somebody we're going to get to know much better. And my gosh, how vulnerable she was talking through the experience of grief she went through. But, her epiphany is that we all go through grief. And is it a time to grow? I thought that was pretty profound.
Yeah, that is a seismic shift when you think about it, going from grief to growth. And really, stepping back and saying, look, I can change this. I love the title of her book, Stop and Shift. Just stop for a minute and say, look, it can get better, was one of my big takeaways. Actually, you said something that was a big takeaway for me in your advice to Tony. Stop telling people, hey, you're going to be great, you're going to be great. Say, hey, you'll get through this. That's a more reasonable goal, when you're in a tough spot, for sure.
Well, because we hear it, too, from so much as we consult, is that, failure is okay, right? And sometimes you'll try for something really big, and it's okay to just do your best. And, we have so much measurement in our society, especially with our kids. And sometimes it's okay to have 3 typos, as she said.
Right. That typo can ruin your day. And we've all had that happen, right? You publish an article and you go, oh, man, I can't believe it. Whatever. And just to let it go and say, look, life is messy. I thought that was a great message to all of us is, look, life is a mess. It's never going to be perfect. And that whole concept of we spend so much time taking the right picture of me reading the book that you stop reading the book.
And we've all done that, right?
Yeah.
But and instead, thinking about our social media as, look, here are my learning lessons, just to say, because we don't do that, right? We try to put our best foot forward, but instead to say, here's what I learned. I was mad on the freeway the other day and I thought about whatever it is. Are we putting ourselves out there to be a little bit more vulnerable? Probably not, but isn't that more real?
Yeah, and a couple of last things for me, that inner voice, the gremlin, we've all done that. And she said it so wonderfully. You start going down that rabbit hole and you start with the negative and it gets more and more negative and it ripples through you more and more negative. And all of a sudden you're back at that stupid place 10 years ago in a conversation that no one but you remembers, thinking what I should have said, and of course it doesn't change. And then the last takeaway for me, which I just thought was wonderful, is start with something really simple. That gratitude practice at the end of the day, which you and I are big fans of. I started with, I'm grateful for my pillow. I'm grateful for my roof. And, you start to go through and then you realize that as big a mess as the world is out there are so many things that you can be grateful for.
Well, I thought, that idea of gratitude can help us rewire our brains.
Yeah.
And we know that, right? We've seen that happen. Anytime somebody goes through psychotherapy, whether, whatever type of therapy, I won't pick on any of them, but that you are part of, gratitude is part of that. You start thanking the people who have helped you where you are. And that is part of rewiring our brains to see the good. And so I think that's really positive. And, and finally, too, is just asking those questions of ourselves when we're in those funks, as she so eloquently described. Look, am I really going to lose everything? Am I really going to, does everybody really hate me? Am I, catastrophizing the situation? What truth can I bring in? That can be really powerful.
Yeah, she was just a delight. Great energy, great positivity, and obviously a great story. If you can come back from what she went through, certainly we can come back from things that are much less traumatic and build great lives. Well, special thanks to all our listeners. Thank you so much for taking the time, and to our wonderful producer, Brent Klein, who makes our mess sound much better than the original. And to Christy Lawrence, our wonderful associate producer, who finds wonderful guests like Karen. And if you like the podcast, please share it. We think there's some great best practices here, and we hope that you'll share it with friends that could also need it. Go to our website, thecultureworks.com. Lots of free resources there to help you and your team thrive.
And we love speaking to audiences around the world, virtually or in person, on the topics of culture, teamwork, resilience. So give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about your event to see what we can do to make it a success.
And lastly, don't forget to buy the book. Come on, Adrian. You're the worst with the book.
Anxiety at work.
And again, listen to the podcast and share it with friends. Listen, it's been a delight to have some time with you here today. We hope there were one or two really good takeaways to help you in your mental health journey. And on that note, what do you always say, Adrian? Come on, the big finish. You say...
Until next time, we wish you the best of mental health.